is when she went on that mobile phone that she went there and said, yeah, those asylum, yeah, let's kill them, let's burn them. Oh, that's when she committed the crime. Daily Mad News. Mad News. Daily Mad News. Mad News. Daily Mad News. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Mad News with your host, Efo Bizo, coming to you live and direct from the Mad News headquarters right here in London. So, what is the Mad News for today? Daily Mad News. Woman appealed against Southport tweet jail term. You see a banner that says, "Police our street, not our tweets." Daily Mad News. Lucy Connolly from Northampton used a social media post on the 29th of July to call for mass deportation now and urge followers to set fire to hotels housing asylum seekers. Daily Mad News.
Alongside me in the courtroom, Alison Pearson, Daily Telegraph columnist, and Raymond Connolly, Conservative councillor and the husband of Lucy Connolly. So Raymond, how do you feel Lucy went in there today?
I think she delivered really well. I can't really fault her. Under extreme pressure, Adam King got all his points, what he needed to do from her, and I just thought she'd done really, really well, because obviously I spoke to her this morning, she was really nervous, but obviously Lucy has turned it round and she knows she's fighting for her daughter's life and hers, and she's went out and done everything and as best as she can.
Daily Mad News. If you go to the Equality and Human Rights Commission website, you find Article 10. Article 10 tells you about your freedom of expression. Now, let's read through. Article 10 protects your right to hold your own opinion. Article 10 protects your right to hold your own opinions and to express them freely without government interference. This includes the right to express your views aloud, for example, through public protest, demonstrations, or through published articles, books, or leaflets, television or radio broadcasting, works of art, the internet, and social media. Daily Mad News. This Article 10 also puts some restriction on your freedom of expression. For example, public authorities may restrict this right if they can show that their action is lawful, necessary, and proportional in order to 1. Protect national security, 2. Prevent disorder or crime, 3. Protect health or morals, 4. Protect the right and reputations of other people, 5. Prevent the disclosure of information received in confidence, 6. Maintain the authority and impartiality of judges. Daily Mad News. There are other laws out there that actually restrict what you can say. Now, there's some primary legal offenses and consequences to saying the wrong things. I'll give you an example. Daily Mad News. If you go to legislation.co.uk, Public Order Act 1986, Section 18. If you go down to this section here, Section 18, use of words of behavior and display of written materials. 1. A person who uses threatening, abusive, or insulting words or behavior or displays any written material which is threatening, abusive, or insulting is guilty of an offense if A. He intends to stir up racial hatred. You see that? B. Having regard to circumstances, racial hatred is likely to be stirred up. That's what that woman was found to be guilty of. Daily Mad News. If they use this law to convict her, you can have a penalty of up to 7 years in prison. Now, this is not the only law that the police can use. Now, they can also use something called the Malicious Communications Act of 1988. Now, if you look through this here, any person's offense of sending letters, etc., with intent to cause distress or anxiety. Any person who sends to another person a letter, electronic communication, or article of any description which conveys a message which is indecent or grossly offensive. B. Which is in whole or part of an indecent or grossly offensive nature. Daily Man News. There's also other law that I want you to look into. Let's look at the Communications Act 2003. Now, if you look at section 127 of the Communications Act 2003, which tells you about improper use of public electronic communications network, a person is guilty of an offense if he sends by means of public electronic communications network a message or other matter that is grossly offensive or of an indecent, obscene, or menacing character, or B, causes any such message or matter to be sent, to be so sent. 2, a person is guilty of an offense if for the purpose of causing annoyance, inconvenience, or needless anxiety to another, he sends sent by means of a public electronic communication network a message that he knows to be false. B, causes such a message to be sent. Or C, persistently makes use of public electronic communications network. 3, a person guilty of an offense under this section may be liable on summary conviction to imprisonment for a time not exceeding 6 months or to a fine not exceeding level 5 on a standard scale or to both. Daily Man News. She's unlucky that they didn't use this law to convict her. I think the police intentionally did not use Communication Act 2003 to convict her, because if they use Communications Act 2003 to convict Lucy, by law, Lucy will only get 6 months in prison. But what they've done is they've used the Public Order Act 1986 instead, because by using Public Order Act 1986, the penalty can be up to 7 years in prison. Daily Man News. If you look at the Protection from Harassment Act 1997, look at the table of contents here. This law can also be used to convict you for up to 5 years in prison. Daily Man News.
All of her evidence today that the reason she agreed to plead guilty, number one, she wasn't in a great state of mind. She didn't have the correct medication. She wasn't quite sure what she was actually signing away. And you were shocked, right? Even as her husband, you didn't know. But it was simply because she wanted to return home.
Daily Man News. The law doesn't care about your emotions, about your state of mind when you committed the crime. Maybe after the conviction, they might reduce your sentencing by looking at the state of mind while you commit the offense. But the law doesn't care about your state of mind while you commit the offense, because you committed the offense. She doesn't need to pick up her phone. She could get mad in her head because the whole world was not there. It's when she went on that mobile phone that she went there and said, yeah, those asylum, yeah, let's kill them, let's burn them. Oh, that's when she committed the crime. Daily Man News. Even though she's angry at that point in time, the law doesn't care, because at that point in time, if she sees an asylum seeker right there in her face, she could do something to the asylum seeker. Daily Man News.
The absolute key moment for me, though, Alison, was when the barrister asks Lucy, what was going through your head? What did you post on X? And she was absolutely abundantly clear that she was not in any way attempting to stir up racial hatred, which is, of course, what she went down for.
Well, as Ray has said, she's not a racist. She was a childminder to children from all corners of the world, and has wonderful glowing references from the immigrant parents. And absolutely, I think the key to this hearing today is that she absolutely thought she wasn't pleading. She wanted to plead guilty because she wanted to have a shorter sentence and get out to be back at home with Ray and their 12-year-old daughter. But she didn't realise that she was actually pleading guilty to a much more serious charge, inciting serious violence. And in fact, she specifically, Dan, after the riot started to kick off, Lucy posted and said, this is not the way. We need to have an intelligent discussion with lots of us need to come together and talk about these issues in a serious, articulate way. So she very much clearly made that. She made that absolutely clear. She was not stirring up serious violence. In fact, she was appalled by the violence.
Daily Man News. Lucy is not the only victim of this social media law. Like we've seen there, men jail for encouraging unrest on social media. Left, Jordan Tyler Wright were jailed for stirring up racial hatred on social media. This article was from the BBC on the 9th of August 2024. It says, the first jail terms were for encouraging unrest on social media has been handed down as more people were sentenced over the wave of disorder and rioting. Daily Man News. This woman is a wife of a politician. She has more legal backing, she has more knowledge, she has more stance than people like us now. But a normal citizen like us needs to understand that even though you can express your opinion like I'm doing now, which is some people might find it unpopular, some people might find it controversial, some people might think I'm taking an offensive view, but I am not inciting hatred, I'm not encouraging violence or terrorism. I haven't threatened, harassed or stalked anyone. I'm not really defaming anyone. I bring facts when I bring out saying alleged accusation against somebody. I haven't sent grossly offensive or menacing communication to anyone, But even still, even if I haven't done all this, the laws that the police out there can still get me arrested. Daily Man News. You have a right to freedom of speech, but this right is not absolute. Yeah. Point number one, you need to know your rights. Yeah. You can express opinions, criticize the government, engage in public debate like I'm doing now. That might even cause offense. This is protected by Article 10 of the Human Rights Act of 1998. I can do this. But there's boundaries to this. You cannot incite racial, religious, or sexual hatred. You cannot threaten or encourage violence. You cannot send grossly offensive or menacing content to anyone. You cannot harass or stalk anyone online. Even provocative jokes, satires, or political rants I'm doing now might come across the line to some people and they might find it offensive because there are laws out there that's been passed that you are not aware of that can take away your freedom. Daily Man News. So this is what I think. Let me know what you think in the comment section if you're not scared to leave your views and opinion there. Like I said to you, make sure you stay safe online and follow the guidelines. If you like what I do, make sure you like and subscribe. Until I see you in the next episode. Daily Man News. Man News. Daily Man News. Man News. Daily Man News.